All right, so let's give it a second. Thanks so much for joining me. Yeah, it says stream is healthy and we are good. Okay, fantastic. I love those messages. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Brian, I see you. What's up, Brian? Good to see you. Michelle, awesome. Good to see you guys. Sorry you missed the intro, but you know, in typical, I don't know, fashion, some things happen. Basically got a message that said, live streaming isn't available right now. And I'm like, what? But I'm scheduled to go live, YouTube. But here I am now. You can see this fun title or words flashing in the background. We talk about design today. So it's good to see you. Cool. Good to see you, Tim. All right. So glad YouTube is up and working, and we're going to get this party started. Thanks so much for joining me, by the way. I took some time off, and it was so nice. So, yeah, I'm just happy to be back, by the way. All right. So, yes. Good to see you, Afroja and Michelle. I see you, Michelle, Biola, all my friends, Frank, Zachary, Osman. Good to see you. Awesome. Umacorn, fantastic. Gabby. Good morning from Austin. I'm here. I'm broadcasting from good old Denver, Colorado. And yeah, again, I've been out for a week, so I'm still got vacation brain a little bit. I'm refreshed, but my muscle memory might be a little slow. So, oh, Frank, I miss you too. Good to see you guys. It's amazing what little time will do for you. A little time off will do wonders, basically. So here we are, elements and principles of design, taking a step back. And Uriel, good to have you here as well. I want to also kind of point out that you could always message me, by the way. So you can see right in here, it looks like I'm live, but if you can see right in here, I'll typically ask the community, such as yourself, for basically suggestions on things that you want to learn or ways you want to improve. I think a lot of times if you want to improve, it all boils down to the principles of design that you might be like ignoring. I know that's the case for me. It's like, oh, I'm not understanding the principles of design. So we're going to use the principles and elements of design. Thanks to everybody who's been commenting. Collaboration is something that people have been mentioning. I got some 3D in here as well. And people want more hours in the day. I get it. So yeah, feel free to let me know what you want to see. And I would love to help you in that respect. All right, cool. So message me. Here's elements and principles of design. Let's get this party started. All right. I even got coffee today. Man, I'm feeling fantastic. Let me get in on this blueberry coffee. Yeah, blueberry. It sounds weird, but it's delicious. Yeah, it tastes like I'm on vacation. All right. So we're going to work on something, and yeah, you'll check it out here in a moment. Something that I was working on was just like an eyeball and a number of other ideas that I had going on. But here's the elements of design. These are the elements, the typical things, the shape. Let me actually turn on a layer, right? We have shapes, for instance. We have, of course, lines, as we can see. All, again, are the elements that we use to make something, right? You can see right in here, I have value. I have actually color in this, right? And then we can throw some texture on top as well. So, but again, I'm not just going to make each one of these things. I think that's kind of boring, right? We can get into form and space, by the way. Like if I do form, let's jump in here and adjust a little bit. Give this some sort of form, which, again, I'm thinking is just a simple little sphere. A lot of times with these gradients, people grab all these other little dots. You're like, oh, all these little dots and control points to move this. What do I use? Just grab the line, and that's actually how you adjust it. Boom, like so. And then we can throw sort of a shadow underneath, like so. And this is starting to have some form, if you will. Okay. Kind of looks like a hole. That's okay, right? not that exciting. I want to get into something kind of cooler and go beyond just elements as well. Blueberry coffee, that's right. Blueberry coffee sounds crazy, but it's good. All right, out of all of these, right, as you start, look at how I have nothing for space. Space is an element, right? So if you decide you want to make something pretty cool with some text, right, think about the space involved. Sometimes people over-design things. So let me just turn on a couple things. I have this, just some fun text right in here. Let's paste it in over here. Why not? Say, for instance, I'm going to hide artboards. So we have this whole canvas to work with, right? If I decide to sort of have some messaging, let's go in here. Let's make this a little thicker, right? I think this is just good advice in general. We can tighten this up too, right? Tighten that up like so, and give this all some space, and even give this a frame. So a lot of times with text, we'll tend to ground things by putting like a frame around them, right? So that kind of grounds this design. Yeah, there we have just a simple message that doesn't need to be over-designed, which is awesome, right? Unbothered, moisturized. You guys moisturizing, huh? You happy? Focused? Flourishing, right? Couldn't you really see this on an Instagram post? This is very Instagram worthy. I'd say just the messaging alone people can get behind, right? It doesn't offend anybody. All right. Let me know how everybody's doing, huh? That's right. Get that blueberry coffee. Right? Boom. Doesn't have to be over-designed. Typically, anybody's sort of a journey as a designer starts out by creating all of this crazy stuff, right? Using all of these elements of design. That's what you do as a new designer. You throw everything out of design, and then as you mature as a designer, you learn how to edit, right? So you can see this final design is quite edited, right? There's no color. Well, there's black, right? There's no value. There's not a lot going on with it, basically. So, when will you be hosting AIDCC again? I think in another month. So give me a month. I'm working on all that stuff right now. So again, we have that cool design. Got it. Push that off to the side. Right? And let's get to work. Right? Here's the big problem. Most people ignore this. This is out of all the principles, right? We have patterns that we could use. Contrast and similarity used largely in UX UI design. Are things the same? And which things are different? So let's just drag that over. Command D. So again, this one, we'll just flip it, boom. So these are similar, but there's some contrast right here. So same shape, has an outline, a very UX UI. Use contrast and similarity to group things together. You guys get the idea, right? Emphasis and dominance, right? If we take all these same shapes, right? We could take one and make it larger. That's often what's referred to when we say dominance, but it can mean more than just that, all right? So when I say emphasis and dominance, a big problem is you need to lead the eye. So you need to know what you need to look at primarily, secondarily, and tertiary, as they say, right? First, second, and third reads, all your different reads. That's all I'm saying. Right. So again, this piece right here, balance, yeah, boop, there we are, we have balance. Perfectly symmetrical and in balance. Balance doesn't have to mean that everything is the same on the left as it is on the right. But anyways, I want to kind of make something that's just fun. Can we just do that? Let's just make something fun. Well, I'll reference all these, right? This really means nothing, to be honest with you, until you work on a design. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, cool. I have a couple different things that I'm working on as I zoom out. All of our elements. Here's one design. We have here's some of the content I was working on. So maybe we'll move this off to the side. This is all part of a two-part, I don't know, design masterclass, basically, right? Today we're going to deal with color, contrast, size, and repetition. All right, so let's do it. I have this fun eyeball that I was working on, right? So I have this eyeball that I can make it kind of, I could take this actually. Let's take this little guy. Zoop. Couple different things I want to do. I could take this. I can make it a radial gradient. Scrunch it down like so. I could do that. All right. I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about slicing this eyeball or slicing up a hand and making different parts. So yeah, we're just going to make a fun design if that's okay with you guys. N for pencil. Here's the start of, again, this eyeball. So I would actually take this to the next level. We have basic color, but size, right? Especially with this eyeball, if we decide to deal with size, right? We want to make somebody look really weird, right? We would take all these elements right here, the pupil, and make it really small. That's kind of very freaky. But so, again, if this is very large, looks like a cartoon. So this is a good sort of example of dealing with size, right? Let's deal with color and contrast. Let's jump in here. Let's select this lovely, not linear gradient. Let's make a radial. Boom. Radial gradient that will maybe tweak a little bit more. Maybe we'll go with these colors. And again, radial gradient and adjust. Right, and even grab this lovely tool, zoop, like that. We're just giving it some color. And we have a red eye. There we go, right? This outside, I would actually take this and change its color as well, right? So we can throw in gradient really fast. Wait for it, everybody. Throw some white in there, right? And we're just going to be really subtle with this. All right, let's take this up here. Just giving it a little subtle gradient, right? So we're dealing with the different values. I'm not crazy about this, the color here. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe I should go with blue. That might look a little bit better. Okay, everyone. Does that look a little bit better? Something like that. It's still a little strong. So I want to play with this some more. You guys get it. Group these together. Shrink it up. Right. And let's go back. Let's go right into here. Let's deal with this hand. This is what I want to work on. If that's okay. How is everybody doing this fine Monday? Just checking questions. Fisheye, I see. You should make a keyboard with one eye shortcuts. I don't know what that means, but sure. Morty's doing great. Morty, it's good to see you, man. It's been ages. It's so fun to be in the industry and get to know people like Morty Golding, who's he was the Illustrator product manager for years. Yeah. And is now working for LinkedIn. So it's good to see you, Morty. I'm just going to select the pencil tool, hit N, using my Wacom pencil. By the way, I could actually just as easily use my Apple Pencil. And let's just jump in here and work with this really fast. Zoop, zoop. I'm going to do this actually all in one line. There it is. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay, we're going to do this, I think, all with one line. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. I'm undecided on the look. Maybe, maybe not. But one thing I'm going to do is change this outline so we can see it. It's too light red. All right, let's go. Make it happen, Paul. Make it happen. Just do your job, Paul, huh? Taking this down. Now, since I want to keep drawing with this same stroke, okay, we can go into Appearance. We'll go to this flyout menu and make sure New Art has basic appearance. Make sure that's unchecked because we don't want it to drop down to the most basic appearance the next time I draw a line. Okay, so as I draw like so, there's that. Let's check our settings. If I double click on this pencil, we have this set to really smooth. I want to give it a little bit more detail. So we'll drag this maybe to the middle, right? And the others, Option key will toggle to the smooth tool, right? So I'll often hold down the Option key, smooth something out. Since I'm removing some smoothness when I draw, I want to turn this on, all right? And Edit Selected Paths and Keep Selected are two things that we'll reference as well. Now we can come in here and, oops. See right over here, as I roll over it, it says, hey, you know, you're going to continue that line, aren't you, Paul? Why, yes, I am. Why am I doing something funny there? Because I have an extra little point there, I think. And this happens. Direct Selection Tool. I want to join these two lines, Command Y. We can see these are two separate lines. Selecting both ends of those and Command J or Control J will join those together, right? At that point, you could always remove one of those points if you want. And if we do Command Y again, you can see where we're at. But look at all the points that we're getting now that we removed some of that smoothness. All right. What is going on, everyone? I better hurry the heck up. Just like that. Let's just make some things happen, right? So I don't like the curve of this. Look at how far down into the hand I went. If I roll over this line, hopefully you guys can see that. Let me zoom in on it. If I roll over this line, it says, hey, you know, you could actually kind of redraw this line if you want to, right? So I can come back up here and drag. Oh, why is it actually... Something very weird is going on. Anyways, draw out like that. And we're just redrawing that line as many times as we want, right? Just like so. Zoom out. Okay. Minus key on your keyboard, you can remove points. You guys get the idea. I don't know if I'm making any magic yet, but that's the plan. My plan is to make magic. Right? And again, I just stopped using my Wacom. And I'm just using, excuse me, my mouse. Here, let's round that down like so. It's a little off. Hit A for Direct Selection Tool. What's going on? Bliss. Bliss, I can't believe you've been using the name Golden Rose when I love the name Bliss. Okay, hit P for Pen Tool. Come in and fix some of this. Right? Always hit Escape. right? And we can start sort of our new line right up here like so, like that. This is our life in Illustrator, basically. You know, following these curves nice and as tight as possible, like so. Not crazy about all those points either. So let's take that. Let's select everything. Let's go into our stroke. Right over here, let's round the caps, and I'll typically round the corners, both. Let's have this kind of curve down here. All right. Happy May 7th. Suspiria. What is Suspiria? I'm unsure of what that is. Suspiria. Isn't there a movie called Suspiria? Is it a movie? There we go. Escape, Command Y. A. Maybe adjust this a little bit. There we go. We're just going to do an elegant hand. And Command Y again. We could actually cheat this a little bit because we could see the thumb right here. So let's just draw a touch of that thumb, right? So we'll just go up like that. Let's go down. Okay, I'm actually just going to use the pen tool right in here. There we go. There we go. Hit escape. Done. Zoom out. And take a look at where we were working. Let's turn that off. Don't mind me as I clean up my layers and I talk to myself. How's the Cintiq working? Yeah, it's working pretty good. It's kind of, I need to reconfigure my setup a little bit because it's right where I draw is right where my mic is. So I'm always hitting the mic when I use this Cintiq, but I typically like it. I do. All right. Let's take this, cut this out. Just setting this up. This is what I drew earlier. So these are our cheat, sheet, take this stuff, and move it over. There we go. Because when I do Command 0, I basically want to be able to see my hand. And there it is. A lovely little hand. This thumb is a little weird, right? Because it's just a dense, all these dense lines right here. Doesn't quite work out. So let's just kind of move that out a little bit. And we'll extend it. Again, P for pen tool. Extend that out. Extend that out. Still might be like a little dense, but we're just trying to get this little fingernail, technically thumbnail. There we go. We have our lovely little elegant hand that we might work with using this with the eyeball and some other shapes. So let's do this. Let's make just a nice composition. Let's take this. We could rotate it around. And really what we need to do is we need to ground this. This curve is a little off too, by the way. Look at how off that is. You guys should have told me. Say, man, this curve, finger doesn't go like that. All right, let's just tighten it up and be aware of the joints of the finger. That looks a little better. All right. What's up, Anthony? All right. You've been looking at Cintiqs, Ryan. So here's my opinion about the Cintiqs. I love the Cintiq 24-inch. Personally, if I think you go any smaller, it's just easier to use your laptop because your laptop screen is larger than 16 inches. So I think the 16-inch one is personally too small. The 31-inch is too large because your hand is traveling like so far across the screen. So 24-inch, at least for me, is like right in there, just perfect. Okay, so let's just duplicate this layer. And this hand is basically floating, so we need to ground this with a shape in the background. So if we take a shape and draw it back there, right, we have this black. Actually, let's change the color. Let's throw this color back there. Doesn't really do us any favors just yet. So we have currently, the circle will be cool, but we need to fill in this hand with white. So that's my next challenge. Let's just go new layer, paste that. There's our circle, right? And maybe I'll just make this a little bit more appealing, soothing color if I could. Maybe blue, right? There we go. Make this a little softer. Nice and soft. Lock that down. All right. Now I gotta start joining all this stuff. This is gonna be a good time. All right. Here is my life, everybody. This is probably your life. If you're working in Illustrator, you're like, okay, now this is what I typically have to do. Start to join all of these lovely lines together. I'm just gonna make one solid shape in the background. This is why I thought about doing everything as one line. What did we learn? Command J will join, right? Don't need this. Get rid of that. What about these two? Is that close enough? Let's bring this up right up here. Command J. All right, today's a day full of masterclasses, just so you know. You can check the schedule. We have Terry White up after me. He's going to get into, I'm sure, some photography. Amazing work. You can see the schedule below me. If you're joining me elsewhere, know that I'm on Behance. And that's what I have going on. I'm over on behance.net/Adobe Live. Right? Going to make this a solid color. Let's try these two. Command J. Join. By the way, what am I doing here with Command J? If you go down to Path, you could see join right there. So that's where that is, in case you forget the shortcut. Okay, easy enough. All right. Like these two, yeah. Command J. Oh, it worked. I didn't know if it was gonna like close out that gap. I didn't know if it was gonna reach like such a long distance, but it did it. Okay, right up here, excuse me, let's take these two. Bam! Over here, is that all joined up too? Is it really? Minus, subtract. There we go. Sure that works. Command A. Or excuse me, just the A key. It doesn't even need to be command. This is an element where we're going to need to like remove this part of the line. If we take a look at all these lovely tools. Muriel, it's good to, you know, by the way, can I just say I'm so thankful. I'm just so thankful to be alive. It's a good day to be alive and to have such friends joining me today. This is awesome. Okay, so we have eraser, scissors, and knife, right? Morty Golding knows all this, right? We can try the eraser on this line, roll over that, and it's just going to take out that chunk. So the eraser isn't going to work here. You think it would, okay? Another thing you try is the scissors tool or the knife tool. The knife is also going to work in a similar way where it's just going to slash it, right? It just cut into that hand. What you want to use is probably the scissors. So scissors allows you to cut it right there and then right over here, cut it right there, and we made this separate line segment like that we can then delete. With this scissors, sometimes it will give you some extraneous points that you have to remove. So just kind of keep that in mind. There might be an extra little point there, but Command J, let's just take this up like that. You guys get the idea. Boom, 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 boom. Ba, ba, shaba, outline, zoom out, turn on, excuse me, our filled hand, and then we have our outline like so, right? And there we have this element of this hand, which I could add more to. VIP Genesis. Oh, wow. Rick Adams, Genesis. You talking Genesis like Phil Collins Genesis? That's cool. I was a big Genesis fan back in the day, and I still am. All right, so what did this piece do? I see a lot of people do this. Like they will have an element, and this hand is just floating there. Doesn't help the design much, right? So I can think of like, how can I take this and how can I ground it, right? I can have a circle, and it doesn't have to be a filled in circle, right? We could do something like this. Command I, sample that line, make sure the line is the same thickness. This also works if I just want to do a simplified sort of look, okay? So just kind of keep this in mind. That's what you want to do, is make sure that you have just sort of an element to ground it. And we obviously have this as the focal point. Notice how this isn't in the exact center. Because if you start to align things perfectly, right, symmetry, it can almost be kind of boring, right? And that's not to say, first of all, there are no hard and fast rules, and that's why I love design. But think about creating visual interest, right? So we have this hand, it's offset. We'll have, probably I'll throw a background color back there. I'll just jump into our nice blues again. There's just a soft blue to kind of help the hand. Hey, Sue John, we do see your text, just so you know. Okay, so there's that. I can consider making this kind of a fun hipster design. I'm thinking about a couple different ideas that I could do. I could sort of create the different moon phases around this circle. Okay. So here we're going to deal with repetition and also variety, ultimately. Now check this out. Let's do this. We're going to use a new feature, which will be fun. Command I, or just, excuse me, I don't know why I keep saying command. It's just I. Here's a circle, right? I might want to do the different moon phases. Geez, how would I do this? Let's think about this. A couple different ways we could do this. This is one thing we could do. We can go into the new repeaters. So right in here, we can go into a radial repeat on this circle. Actually, let's take these two circles. Before we even do that, let's try this. Okay, you ready? Love this. I want to make a crescent moon. Okay? I'm going to make a crescent moon, so I need to subtract this circle in the foreground from the background circle. So I'll go over here, and you guys know, click. And this message I've actually ignored for a decade. Alt-click to create a compound shape. That's what I want to do. Alt-click or Option-click. So Option-click, boom, there we are. What that does, it gives me a compound shape, so I could actually double-click and say, hey, you know what, I want maybe a little less crescent, more crescent, right? We have that control. So this is going to allow me to give me the phases of the moon that I want to work with. Okay, so you guys get the idea. Let's go right there. Just double click on the background to get out of there. Selecting this. Zoom out a little bit more. Edit. Excuse me. Object. Repeat. Sorry. Oh, this is fascinating. I am learning something new every day. I am learning something new, folks. Let's move that off to the side. Let's expand appearance. That's fascinating. All right, let's go in here. Object, repeat, radial. Here's my radial repeat. I can start to spin around. Move this to the center by grabbing that line. Grab this, pull this out, and get it all lined up. All right, let's put this on its own layer up at the top of everything else. All right, there we go. So here we have our repeater for our different moon phases that we can work on, right? As many or as few as we want. What I just discovered, by the way, Sean, I don't know if you saw that, but this is a compound shape, and I went into Object, Repeat, and I can't repeat compound shapes. So that's what I noticed. So I'm like, that doesn't really work out for me, right? So that's why I created it this way. And honestly, I only want moons halfway around this circle. So I'll do something like this. Maybe take this down like so. And let's increase the number. Kind of like that. I think that looks good. All right. There we go. So we have all of our phases, right? We could always take this, we could expand it. Also right down here under repeat, there's release and additional options. Okay, so right down here, let's do a fancy, ooh, right? So if we release it, of course it takes it back to the way it was, and we can go into the options for repeat right in here. So we could see that there are 8 and the angle that it goes around it. So we could always, if there's overlapping, we can reverse. So maybe the last one is in front of the first one or vice versa. Okay, so you could really dial that in any way you want, as you can see. But from there, just go ahead and expand it out. Right, that's all I'm doing. Ungroup those. And now we have these individual shapes. And this is all I'm gonna do. Let's do a full moon near the top. And all I'm doing is holding down the Option key or the Alt key, moving that over. We'll scrunch this up a little bit. And I'll start subtracting these in a second. In fact, we might be able to see what these look like a little easier if I turn them white. Let's take this one, let's move it over. This will be our full moon. We'll have this one off to the side. These actually might be the same or very similar, but anyway. Anywho, you guys get the idea. Just need to do my job, huh? Just do your job, Paul. Just get it done. Now we have somewhat of our repetition. That one looks good. Oops. This one needs to be in front. Just to prove it. So we're doing a minus front, holding down the Option key. There we go. Moon phases. Done. Checking the time, I got 20 minutes. Sweet. Yeah, Shape Builder tool would work as well. The reason I did it this way by holding on the Alt key is I still have this like math associated with it, but since you mentioned it, good call. I often use Shape Builder when I have multiple shapes, but right over here we could take the Shape Builder tool. Shape Builder will like combine, of course, like that. or subtract. So if you hold down the Option key, I can remove. Okay. When I do that, I don't end up with any of that math for this shape. Like the math is gone. So I can't adjust this easily after the fact. But since these are compound shapes, if I'm not crazy about this one, I could double click on the inside of it, and then I can move, right, and adjust this any way I want after the fact. So since it's still editable, it makes my life easier. There we go. We have the moon phases. Still keeping with that same line thickness. I don't know, something like that. All right. Why are you guys talking about the band hammer? Don't freak me out when you mention the band hammer, which is basically when my stream ends, usually when I'm mid-sentence. All right. There's our design. It could use like a little butterfly. I don't know. It could use a butterfly. It could use a rose. There's more we can add to this. I can add elements around it as well. But if we reference back to our lovely cheat sheet, we'll move this. Let's move this off to the side. Right. So we started with line. We ended up creating a shape of a hand. We're kind of using space, and more importantly, we're kind of using I don't know, like balance. We're using a lot of these, right? This even has some motion. So when you start adding repeating elements, it can create some motion. If it's the same item that's sort of changed over time, it starts to look like motion. And sure enough, that's what happens. It's like, you know, you have the moon where you can only see the light on the moon, and it creates that lovely crescent. Because of Paul. Yeah, maybe. I remember back in the days when there was no band hammer, where you could just, you know, when you were done streaming, you just hit stop. Those were the good old days. All right, but you can see all these. I could actually start outlining the ones that we are using. All of these. We're not using any value. We're not using any texture. That's why we're going to do a part 2 next week. We honestly kind of have a pattern because you have these patterns of shapes. You have some movement. I'd like to think that you have harmony, right? Again, if you're doing anything, or if anything looks weird, the case is usually you have multiple elements that are competing for your attention, or you have different styles that are conflicting, right? So for this, I feel like I have harmony with it because all the lines are the same thickness. Lovely little harmony. If I happen to break that for any one of these, it's not going to make it look very good. Like this one all of a sudden is like thicker. Doesn't that look kind of odd? Right? It's all pretty straightforward, but when you go into meetings that makes you sound really smart when you're like, oh, you know, based on the principles of design, you know, we made sure this design adhered to all the principles of design. You know, we have harmony with the lines, we have repetition with the moons, we have emphasis right here and dominance with the hand in the middle. And I'm not even saying this is a fantastic design, but it would be worse if I started breaking all of these. So you really don't sort of reference these until a design like looks ugly, in my opinion. Yes, I remember the days when we just had one 8-hour stream. I remember those as well. All right, let's throw a little color in here, because why not? Why not people. I'll just duplicate that layer. Throw some fun gradients in there. Right? Because that's what we want it to look like. Something like that. Maybe it's more of a sunrise, sort of sun situation. Let's do that, folks. Click and drag. Again, just now we have different values and multiple colors. I don't know what you guys think. All right. Yeah, visual hierarchy. Yes, Caitlin. Visual hierarchy. Couldn't have said it better. Right? But let's play with this. Now that we kind of have this set up, we can try some of these other things. And I'll kind of keep a backup of some of these layers. But let's just jump in here. And maybe we make these all black. Just to see how it looks. All right? So different moon phases. Is this helping it? Notice how I'm starting to like eliminate the line work. Well, what if I eliminate the lines for the hand? It starts to look a little weird because you can't tell that it's a hand. So let's duplicate that just so we have a backup. And maybe we do get rid of some of these lines. And for the rest of the lines, we'll just make them a soft gray. And really what I would do here is I would probably use all values, no lines for the hand. So let's actually go back to our actual hand image. And let's have some fun with it. Let's take this hand. Remember, we're using this one. We are going to crop it. It's going to ask me to embed it first. I think that's what that message should have said. Let's crop just that hand. There it is. Let's crop it a little bit more, tightening this up like so. Okay. Now that we have this hand isolated, we can go in here to do shades of gray, but I typically stick with the colors, right? I kind of look at this and say, how many colors are in this? Let's see how 3 colors will look, right? And it's saying, hey, this is a pretty large image, Paul. This might take a second, but we'll try it out. I got 5 minutes. Oh yeah, that's not working. 3 colors doesn't work. Let's try 6 colors. And by the way, that message said, hey, you know what? Go to Object, go to Rasterize, lower that the dots per inch. Because there's too much going on here, Paul. So yeah, and I would agree. There is a lot going on in here. This is what I would do. This is what I would do, folks. Copy. Photoshop. Paste. Yeah, make it happen. There it is. Let's just try this. Let's just try this. Is this going to work? Is it going to work? Ah, not quite. Hurry up, Paul. Come on. Do it. Do it. Do it up. Yeah, using the magic, or some people call the tragic wand. So you know what? There is no tool that's bad. It's just you're probably using it wrong. Would you agree? There aren't bad tools. People are just using tools wrong in general. So much contrast. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to have to like cut out a lot of this very quickly. Go, hurry. Paul, you got 5 minutes. Again, let me know what you guys want to see. Michelle, I got your email about you wanted to see some 3D. Well, actually, no, you said animation was one thing you wanted to see. Website design. I saw that. Just a couple suggestions. And by the way, I have a Wacom right in front of me. And I'm still just using the pencil. But this is where the Wacom shines, assuming I can find it right here. Boom. You get the idea. Hold down the Option key, you'll get that straight line. Hurry, Paul. Must get this done in time. I'm just trying to remove the background. By the way, I could have actually used, maybe kind of worked with the contrast to make the background stand out. But honestly, these colors are way too close in value. And I'm just not going to get it. Go, go. I was losing it right in here. It's not going to get that detail. Okay, there we go. Ha ha ha. Are you making fun of me, Sean? Sean's like, you have 5 minutes. Start a new project. I think you know me all too well. Because I end up looking at what I was creating and I'm like, I don't know if I really like this. Let's start something else to try to redeem myself. That's kind of what's happening here. But again, we're working on values, and that's the best way to do this. Again, this is really rough. That's okay. We could copy it. We could drop it back into Illustrator. All right, here we are. Shabam, shabam. Right, so there it is. We could do our image trace. We could go down to, say, 3 colors now. What do you guys think? Yeah. See, again, this, typically anything that's going to be like an automatic whatever, an automatic button might not get you what you need. So make sure you expand it, you ungroup it, right? You might need to ungroup it a couple times, right? And then you can select that white, get rid of that white, and start to patch this up some more. This needs so much work, right? Because again, that's what automatic does. Let's just take this, we'll drop it in there, since again, I'm down to my last couple minutes anyways. This is where it needs to go. Put it on top. X. On top, Paul. Do it. Go. Go, go, go. There's our hand with the different values, which is, again, just kind of what I was going for. Does it look good? The answer is no. Would I need to smooth this out? Heck yeah. Definitely need to smooth this out. Right? Does there need to be unity with the color? Certainly. Because what's happening is we have all these vibrant colors, then we have these grays. So when you're making and using color, obviously don't pick color just to decorate a design. Do it with a purpose. Like this is kind of imitating the sunrise, but then I have this black, this dark hand looks like a zombie hand. Is that really what I want to portray? You can always go into recolor artwork to play with it. So again, we'll go into sort of advanced options, you know, and tweak it any way you want, as you can see I'm doing right now. Okay, so I'll work on that some more. You guys get the idea. I think we're kind of down to this one. I like this one better, something kind of like this. So this is where we'll end this, and hopefully I'll get something done that I can post to Instagram. But the thing is, I'm going to go ahead and do something like this in Photoshop, taking things to the next level in Photoshop, using these same principles as well. As I talk about or create my design, I'll talk about all of these. So you guys get the idea. Thanks so much. Make a metallic arm. What I want to do is I want to slice into this arm and have colors, a rainbow of colors spilling out. So that's what I want to do with this hand. When I get into Photoshop, I have an idea. So it should be good. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Again, the design principles will really get you out of a jam if you're running into any issues at all. So I'll leave you in Terry White's capable hands. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you soon.